My name is Nina R. Sanders. I'm 30 years old, and it wasn't the first time Marla had needed Cole. It was just the first time he offered her my side of the bed. Cole and I had been together for 3 years. I had seen him through the stress of his layoff, cooking meals while he sent out resumes, and pretending I did not notice when rejection emails made him stare at the ceiling for hours. I had driven through the night when his father had a heart scare, holding his hand in a sterile hospital waiting room until morning. I had even, against my better judgment, tolerated Marla's constant looming presence in our lives. Marla Vance, Cole's charismatic, perpetually crisis-ridden best friend from college. A freelance photographer whose art was always on the verge of being discovered, whose landlords were always unreasonable, whose exes were always toxic, whose emergencies somehow always happened when Cole and I had plans. Cole's personal charity project wrapped in red lipstick, leather boots, and a wounded smile. The call came at 12:37 a.m. on a Tuesday. My phone buzzed first, lighting the nightstand. Marla. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, Cole's phone rang. I heard him murmur, the bed shifting as he sat up. "Oh, Marla. No. Where are you? That's too much. Are you safe?" A familiar heaviness settled in my stomach. I stared at the ceiling. He hung up and turned to me in the blue-dark room. I could already see the performance of concern arranged on his face. That was Marla. She's at Hollow Bar. She had way too much to drink and she can't afford a cab all the way home. "So she can call one of her other friends," I said, my voice flat with sleep. "Or sleep it off somewhere safe. She's 30, Cole. She's upset, Nina. Her gallery show was a disaster tonight. Nothing sold. She's devastated." He was already throwing the covers back. "I told her to come here." I sat up. "Why?" "Because she needs a friend. She can't be alone right now." "She can sleep on the couch," I said. The line we had established and held for 2 years. Cole was already pulling an extra pillow and the gray fleece blanket from the linen closet. He did not look at me. "It's not good for her to be on the couch. She needs proper rest. She's emotionally fragile." A cold clarity cut through my annoyance. Where exactly is she supposed to sleep? Then he finally met my eyes, clutching the pillow like a shield. "She's sleeping here tonight. You can take the couch." The words hung in the room, absurd and offensive. I laughed once, short and disbelieving. "You're joking." "Don't be heartless," he said. "She needs someone to watch over her in case something happens. What if she gets sick? What if she has an anxiety attack? You know how she gets." "Watch over her in our bed?" "It's not like that." He rolled his eyes. "God, why are you always so insecure about her? If you really loved me, you'd understand. I'm just being a good friend. She has no one else." There it was. My boundary was insecurity. My discomfort was failure. His choice to prioritize another woman was noble compassion. "If you really loved me," I said quietly, "you wouldn't ask me to leave my own bed for another woman." His face hardened. "I'm asking you to be understanding for one night, but I guess that's too much." 20 minutes later, the front door opened. Marla's slurred voice filled the apartment, too loud, followed by Cole shushing her with a tenderness he never used on my hard days. I stood in the bedroom doorway and watched him help her toward our room. She leaned on him heavily, then looked over his shoulder at me. Her eyes were clear. A tiny smirk touched her mouth before she let her head fall back against him. Cole guided her to my side of the bed. My side. My book still on the nightstand. He pulled the comforter up to her chin and brushed hair from her forehead. I understood then. This was not about Marla being drunk. This was my final exam. How much disrespect would I rename as love? Cole went to get a damp cloth. I went to the closet. By 2:10 a.m., my suitcase was packed. Documents, laptop, clothes, passport, car title, The small fireproof box with my grandmother's necklace and letters from my brother overseas. I took only what was mine. I left every us item behind. In the kitchen, I wrote 2 lines. Enjoy your patient. Don't contact me. Then I left my apartment key in the bowl, opened the door, and stepped into the cold night. The underground parking garage was silent when I loaded my suitcase into the trunk. I sat in the driver's seat for a moment, with both hands on the wheel, not crying, not shaking, just breathing in the strange, clean air of a decision that could not be unmade. Only then did I pull out my phone. I opened Cole's contact, blocked his number, then opened Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Blocked, blocked, blocked. It took less than a minute. An administrative task, the kind you do after canceling a subscription you should have ended months ago. Before I drove away, I texted my best friend Lena. It's over. Need the couch for a few days. Be there in 20. Her reply came almost instantly. Doors open. Are you safe? I typed yes, and for the first time that night, I meant it. Lena's couch was a sagging blue monster that smelled faintly like lavender detergent and her old dog. It was the most comfortable place I had ever slept for 3 days. I did not call in sick. I went to work the next morning. I wrote code, attended meetings, fixed a deployment issue, and ate a turkey sandwich at my desk. My coworkers noticed nothing. That was the first revelation. My heart could be a crater, and my hands could still type clean, functional lines of Python. I did not explain much to Lena. The first night, over tea she pushed into my hands, I simply said, "He chose, so I left." She already knew about Marla. Her face darkened. "What did he do?" "It doesn't matter," I said. And I meant it. Narrating the injury felt like giving it room to grow. The decision was already made. Lena nodded slowly. "Then the couch is yours as long as you need." The silence at Lena's apartment was different from the silence I had lived with Cole. There was no waiting for the next Marla emergency. No tense pause before a phone rang. No stomach drop when Cole said, "She needs me." This silence was neutral. It was a blank canvas. It belonged to me. My phone became quiet in a way that felt almost physical. No messages from Cole. No anxious checking. No digital hook pulling me back into a fight I had already left. But the phantom habit stayed for a while. I would glance at my screen expecting the familiar dread, only to remember he could not reach me. Lena became the reluctant messenger anyway. On the 4th morning, she slid her phone across the counter. "He's texting me now." The screenshot was from Cole. "Is Nina with you? Please tell her to call me. This is ridiculous." I pushed the phone back. "You don't have to be the middleman." "I told him you're alive. That's all he needs to know." She paused. Then he wrote, "She's really going to throw away 3 years over one misunderstanding?" A misunderstanding. Such a small, insulting word. It turned my humiliation into confusion, his choice into bad communication, my boundary into a tantrum. "Don't answer," I said. Later came more screenshots. "Marla left this morning. Are you happy now?" Then, "Can we please talk like adults?" Then, "You're blowing this way out of proportion." Every message was a non-apology, pretending to be mature. He mentioned Marla leaving like her absence erased the fact that he had placed her in my bed. He demanded conversation, because conversation had always been the table where I gave ground and he called it compromise. Lena looked at the screen and shook her head. "He thinks this is a fight." "No," I said quietly. "It was a decision." The next week, I found an apartment during my lunch break, a modern, sterile studio in a building with a gym and a concierge. No history in the walls, no shared furniture, no side of the bed that had been reassigned to another woman. When the property manager asked why I was moving, I said, "Change of scenery." It was the truth. I moved in with one suitcase, an air mattress, and a single chair. The emptiness felt luxurious. I joined a climbing gym downtown because I wanted a kind of exhaustion that came from strength instead of anxiety. I reconnected with college friends Cole had always dismissed as immature. We went to trivia night and came in last, laughing so hard I forgot to feel embarrassed. Lena still heard things through mutuals. A friend saw Cole and Marla at brunch, cozy in a way no one could misunderstand. A few days later, Lena showed me an Instagram photo before asking if I wanted to see it. Cole and Marla on a rocky trail above the city, her hands on his shoulders, his smile too wide. Caption: when someone finally appreciates your adventurous side. Hashtag new beginnings. Hashtag no settling. The old me would have felt jealousy, shame, a sudden need to prove I had not been boring. The new me stared at the photo and understood something colder. Cole had not chosen a better life. He had chosen a better story, one where Marla was the wounded muse, and he was the noble man who saved her. I handed the phone back to Lena. Good for them. She blinked. You're not mad? What's the point? I said. He's someone I used to know. That was the second revelation. Indifference does not arrive with thunder. It arrives as silence. And in that silence, I had no idea that Marla's mask was already beginning to crack. The karma did not arrive with thunder. It trickled in quietly, inevitably, like water finding cracks in a foundation. 3 weeks after I left, I was assembling a flat-pack bookshelf in my new apartment, screwdriver in hand, a podcast murmuring in the background, when my phone buzzed on the floor. Lena. I put her on speaker. Hey, what's up? Her voice was a mix of shock and grim satisfaction. You are not going to believe this. Marla got arrested. I paused with the screwdriver halfway turned. Go on. Petty theft, Lena said. Apparently, she walked out of a high-end camera store downtown with a lens worth almost $2,000 tucked in her jacket. Security footage was crystal clear. She didn't even try to hide her face. I stared at the unfinished bookshelf in front of me. That's unfortunate. That's not all, Lena continued, her voice lowering like she was stepping into darker rooms. When the cops looked into her, it opened up this whole mess. She has debts everywhere. She's been borrowing money from 5 different people with the same sad story. Funds tied up, big client payout coming, landlord being unfair. You know, the usual wounded artist script. A cold, clean understanding clicked into place. The brunches, the new hiking gear, the expensive cocktails. Cole had not rescued some fragile friend from ruin. He had become her newest project, her newest wallet, her newest audience. Cole loaned her money? I asked. $3,000 last week, Lena said, for new portfolio equipment. That's what she told him anyway. I went back to tightening the screw. Of course she did. It gets worse. One of the other people she borrowed from is a man she'd been seeing for months. Some graphic designer named Owen. He thought they were exclusive. Found out about Cole, lost it, and tipped off the camera store manager to watch her because he said she was a con artist. The picture assembled itself without effort. Marla had played multiple saviors against one another, each one believing he was special, each one funding a different version of her tragic genius. Cole had thought he was chosen. He had simply been useful. How's he taking it? I asked. Not because I cared, but because information still had shape. Badly, Lena said. Embarrassed. Humiliated. Out $3,000 he probably doesn't have. Their friend group is splitting. Some feel sorry for him. Others are saying he made his bed when he chose Marla over you. You can say it, I said. It's fine. There was a pause. Do you feel sorry for him? I set the screwdriver down and looked around my apartment. The bare shelves, the air mattress, the single chair. the clean silence. Everything here was plain, unfinished, and mine. No, I said. If I felt sorry for him, I'd still be connected to his drama. I'm not. His consequences came from his decisions. He saw a fragile artist. I saw a user. He called my judgment insecurity. Now he gets to live with being wrong. Lena exhaled softly. You're really free of it, aren't you? I'm building a bookshelf, I said. That's all I'm doing. She laughed once. Okay, I'll stop with the updates unless it matters. Thank you. 2 days later, the first unknown number texted me. I guess you heard. I should have listened to you. Can we talk? Cole. The tone was perfectly curated, contrite but not too small, acknowledging my foresight without fully apologizing. It was the opening move in a game I had stopped playing. I typed one word. No. Then I blocked the number. 3 days later, he sent a proxy. His brother Mason called my work phone, which meant Cole had either remembered where I worked or had asked around. Mason had always been the reasonable one, which in families usually means the person chosen to make unreasonable requests sounds softer. Nina, he said, nervous warmth in his voice. I know this is awkward. Cole is really hurting. I stayed silent. This thing with Marla, it broke him. He sees now that he messed up. He misses you. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive him? People make mistakes. I leaned back in my chair and used the calm voice I saved for difficult clients. Mason, I have no ill will toward Cole. I wish him no harm. But I'm not part of his life anymore, and I have no interest in rejoining it. Please wish him well for me. Nina, wait! Take care, Mason. I hung up gently. That night, another unknown number texted. You're really going to abandon me when I'm at my lowest? I read it once and deleted it. There it was again. His need becoming my obligation. His crisis becoming my test. His pain asking me to forget mine. But this time, I did not reach for the old script. I reached for the block button. The ambush came a week later on a rainy Thursday evening. I had just gotten home from the climbing gym, hair still damp from the shower, one sock on, one sock in my hand, when my intercom buzzed. I was not expecting anyone. Lena had a key. My building did not let strangers wander up without being called. I walked over and pressed the button. Yes? No voice answered, just the hollow sound of the lobby. A minute later, a soft knock came at my door. Not Lena's confident knock, not a delivery. A careful tap, 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 like whoever stood outside wanted to seem harmless. A cold suspicion settled in me. I looked through the peephole. Cole stood there, soaked from the rain. His hair was plastered to his forehead, his jacket dark at the shoulders, his face drawn in a way I had never seen before. He looked smaller, younger, utterly defeated. He was clutching his phone like it was a lifeline. For a full 30 seconds, I did not move. I could have stayed silent. I could have let him stand there until he left. But some part of me needed to know whether the old hook was still there, whether seeing him broken would still make me forget myself. So I opened the door only halfway. His eyes widened with desperate hope. Nina, please, just 5 minutes. You shouldn't be here, I said. I asked you not to contact me. I know I messed up. The words spilled out quickly, rehearsed but shaky. Marla lied about everything. She took money from me. She was seeing some guy the whole time. She made me look like an idiot. I waited. He swallowed hard. Everything you said about her was right. Still, I said nothing. The hallway air was cold and damp. Rainwater dripped from the edge of his sleeve onto the floor between us. One dark drop after another. That's unfortunate, I said. He flinched, like I had slapped him. Unfortunate? That's all you have to say? She stole from you. You should file a police report. I don't want a police report. His voice cracked, and for one brief moment, the misery in his eyes looked real. I want you. I want us back. I see it now. I was blind. I took you for granted. I let Marla get in my head. But we had something real, Nina. You were home. Home. Said like a place he could return to after trashing the furniture. There is no us, I said. There hasn't been since the night you asked me to leave my bed for her. His mouth opened, then closed. The specific mention of the bed seemed to cut through his prepared apology. Maybe because he had reduced it to a misunderstanding in his head. Maybe because I had not. You don't love me anymore? He whispered. There it was. The final emotional lever. A question designed to make me comfort him, deny cruelty, prove softness. The old me might have rushed to explain. The old me might have said, I did love you, then accidentally opened a door. I looked at him calmly. My feelings are no longer your concern. His face changed then. The wounded man flickered, and something sharper came through. So that's it? He said. After 3 years, I get a goodbye in a hallway? You're colder than I thought. I held the door steady. Then it should be a relief that you're free of me. His eyes flashed. You think you're so perfect now. You're not. You're just punishing me because I made one mistake. One mistake? I said softly. You made a choice. Then another. Then another. You only regret the consequences. His breathing turned uneven. I needed you. No, I said. You needed a safety net. I'm not available for that anymore. For a second, he looked like he might say something cruel enough to make even himself hear it. Then he stepped back, rainwater darkening the hallway carpet. Marla was right about one thing, he said bitterly. You are impossible to reach. I almost smiled. Good. Then I closed the door. The lock clicked. Loud. Clean. Final. An hour later, a message came from another soon-to-be-blocked number. Fine. Be that way. You were always cold anyway. You act like you're better than everyone, but you abandon people when they need you. I hope your new life is as lonely as you are. I read it once, with the detached interest of someone studying a language she no longer speaks. The grammar of blame. The vocabulary of a man who could never be the cause of his own pain. Then I deleted it, blocked the number, and returned to the quiet apartment that had never once asked me to become smaller to deserve peace. The final thread was cut 8 weeks after I left, in the most ordinary place imaginable. A coffee shop 3 blocks from our old apartment. I had avoided that neighborhood for months, not because I was afraid of memories, but because I had no reason to walk through a version of my life I had already moved out of. That morning, though, my usual cafe was closed, and I had a report to finish before noon. So I ended up in the corner booth of the old place, headphones on, laptop open, coffee cooling beside my hand. The smell of roasted beans and cinnamon was familiar enough to be dangerous. I remembered sitting there with Cole on rainy Saturdays, his knee pressed against mine under the table while he edited Marla's photos because she was too overwhelmed to do it herself. Back then, I thought love meant being patient with interruptions. Now I understood patience without respect is just slow self-abandonment. I did not see him come in. I only felt someone hovering near my table. When I looked up, Cole was standing there holding a paper cup with both hands. He was with a friend I vaguely recognized from his old circle, a woman named Tessa who had once liked every New Beginnings post he and Marla put online. She hung back near the sugar packets, pretending not to watch. Cole looked tired. Not theatrically broken like he had at my door in the rain. Just worn thin. The light was gone from him. No performance, no wounded hero energy, no charming half-smile. Just a man in a coffee shop who had finally run out of people to blame. "Nina," he said softly, "you look good." I pulled one headphone away. "Thank you." The way you thank a stranger who holds open an elevator. An awkward pause stretched between us. His eyes flicked to my laptop, then to my coffee, then back to me, as if searching for evidence that I had secretly been waiting for him. "I'm moving," he blurted out. "Can't afford the apartment alone anymore." I said nothing. "Marla cleaned out my savings," he continued. "Not literally all of it, but enough. She lied about everything. The arrest, the other guy, the money. I had no idea who she really was." There it was, the offering. His suffering placed at my feet like proof that he had paid enough to deserve entry. "I'm sorry to hear about your financial situation," I said. The phrase was polite, professional. The same tone I used when a client said a vendor missed a deadline. His face fell. "That's it?" I closed my laptop halfway, not because I owed him my full attention, but because I wanted him to hear me clearly one last time. "Cole, that chapter is closed. I've moved on. I suggest you do the same. Dwelling isn't healthy." "Moved on?" His eyes scanned me, then the room, like a new man might appear from behind the espresso machine. "Are you seeing someone?" I almost smiled. It was such a Cole question. Not, "Are you happy?" Not, "Did I hurt you?" Just a quick inventory of whether someone else had taken the place he still believed belonged to him. "Whether I'm alone or with someone is irrelevant to us," I said. "What matters is that I'm at peace, and you are not my responsibility. Not your feelings, not your finances, not your recovery." His lips parted. The truth sat between us, too simple for him to twist. "You never loved me, did you?" he whispered. The last weapon. The final attempt to turn my boundary into proof that my love had been false. I looked at him, and for the first time, I did feel something. Not longing, not anger, just a quiet sadness for the woman I had been, the one who would have rushed to prove she had loved him enough. "I loved you more than you understood," I said. "But love requires respect. You showed me exactly where I stood, so I stood somewhere else." I gestured lightly around me, the coffee shop, the open laptop, the city outside, the whole clean life waiting beyond him. Somewhere better. He stared at me, and I saw the moment it finally landed. There was nothing to negotiate, because I was not negotiating. Nothing to win, because I had stopped playing. His shoulder slumped. The performance ended. What remained was just a tired man facing the unchangeable shape of his own choices. "Take care of yourself, Cole," I said. Then I placed my headphone back over my ear, picked up my coffee, and stood. At the door, my colleague Marcus was just walking in, waving. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "Traffic was a nightmare." "No problem," I said. "I got a head start on the report. Let's grab a table." As the door swung shut behind us, I did not look back. I did not wonder what Cole did next. I did not feel victory or pity. I only felt the crisp morning air on my face and the pleasant weight of work, friendship, and a life that finally belonged entirely to me. The last thread was cut. It made no sound at all.